Get ready, Padres fans. It's time for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Tatis hit third, 2 outs. Fernando takes off. He's going to steal home without a play.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, and our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today the Padres take on the Pittsburgh Pirates in the final game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Pirates, right-hander Luis Ortiz, and for the Padres, right-hander Randy Vasquez. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 9:35 a.m. Before we do anything else, let's recap what was a wild and wacky night in Pittsburgh.
How did the Padres fare in their last game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind. Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Padres trailed 2-0 in the top of the second last night. Jackson Merrill got the Padres offense going.
Last night's game sends this one in the air, straightaway center field and deep. Michael A. Taylor is back. He's going to watch this one. Gonna go into the topiary and straightaway center field. And Jackson Merrill with his 14th home run of the season. It's 2-1.
But the Pirates got the run right back. Padres still trailed 3-1 going to the top of the fourth inning. There were 2 on base for Kyle Higashioka. Higashioka hit a 3-run home run. That lead really short-lived, though. Andrew McCutchen led off the bottom half of the inning against Michael King.
Tigers 2-1 in the air to very deep left field, hooking towards the pole. This one is gonna go. Long home run for Andrew McCutchen. Tucked it inside that left field foul pole. That is his 14th of the year, and we are tied 4-4.
The Padres, though, answered in the 5th inning. Manny Machado was on second base for Jackson Merrill.
All they get to.
1-2 ripped into right field. That's down and a base hit. Bay plays the hop, fires home. Machado on his way. The throw and the tag, not in time. RBI single, Jackson Merrill, his 3rd hit of the game, and Manny's stolen base has helped put the Padres back in front. It's 5-4.
Michael King went 5 innings. Jeremiah Estrada came on for the bottom half of the 6th inning. Andrew McCutchen hit a 2-out, 2-run single to put the Pirates back in front 6-5. Fast forward to the top of the 9th inning. Former Padre David Bednar looking for the save, but the kid had another moment.
On down by 1, swings at the first pitch, sends it in the air, deep to right center field. Taylor is back. This one gonna go! Jackson Merrill's 2nd homer of the night has tied it 6-6 here in the 9th.
So we went to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Robert Suarez came on. The Pirates loaded the bases against him with 1 out. Suarez got the 2nd out. Tanner Scott then got the final out of the inning. That sent us to the 10th inning. Xander Bogaerts put the Padres ahead.
Nobody out, 1-1, line into left field. That is a base hit for Xander Bogaerts. Arise rounding third, he'll score. Kim gonna hustle into third base as the throw comes into second. An RBI single for Xander Bogaerts, and the Padres are back in front. It's 7-6.
Padres would get 2 very important runs in that top of the 10th inning to make it 9-6. Tanner Scott came back out for the bottom half of the 10th inning. Padres leading 9-6. He walked 3 in a row. It was 9-7. Adrian Morejon entered and uncorked a wild pitch. It was a 9-8 game. The Pirates had the tying runs in scoring position with nobody out. Morejon got a ground ball for out number 1, a strikeout for out number 2. The tying and winning runs were still in scoring position.
Pitch on the way, Grandal swings, it's a ground ball to the left side. Kim has got it. The throw to first is in time, and the ball game is over. A wild one in Western PA as the Padres hold on for a 9-8 victory in 10.
What a win for the Padres. They continue to get it done. A wild, wacky, sometimes bizarre game in Pittsburgh. The final score again in 10. Padres 9 and the Pirates 8. Padres have now won 13 of their last 15 games. They enter today 11 games above 500. Let's go to Western Pennsylvania.
Let's go inside the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup from Bob Scanlon in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Scan, the Padres' young stars shined last night, one being Jackson Merrill, obviously, but another was Adrian Morejon. Morejon's had a breakout year. That was really some of his finest work last night, getting out of the 10th inning, picking up his well-earned first Major League save. Scan, let's focus on Morejon. What has been the difference for Adrian so far this year?
It was fun to watch him last night, wasn't it? And to your point, it was another great step in his development because he's been throwing the ball so much better this season. And it really started last season, Sam. He made an adjustment with his arm slot. He said he lowered it about 4 inches. It made a huge difference in terms of the ball coming out of his hand comfortably, and it really made his breaking ball more consistent as well. So you have a combination of a young guy dropping his arm slot a little bit. All of a sudden, he's locating his fastball better. He's more consistent with his breaking ball. He's staying healthy for the first time in how many seasons?
Yeah.
And he's throwing the ball outstanding. So that was step number one, was getting his mechanics right and getting him healthy. Step number two has been developing him in getting him comfortable in those tough situations. And early in the season, at first it was sort of, long relief type roles, non-high pressure opportunities, and he did a nice job with it. And then Mike Shildt would say, okay, here's a little bit of a tougher opportunity, and quite frankly did not step up when he needed to. And so he kind of he's not ready for that yet. Let's put him back into some soft situations. And so they had to build him up, and eventually he started performing in the higher pressure situations. And now last night was the ultimate high pressure situation, and he came in and he was outstanding even after the first pitch that he fires is a fastball down low that ends up going as a wild pitch, and you're thinking, okay, this can really snowball badly from here. But he kept his composure. He kept banking pitches. He gets the ground ball, strikeout ground ball to escape the damage and lock down his first big league save. So it's just been a great evolution from first, let's get the mechanics straight. Let's get you healthy. Now let's start finding opportunities where we can stretch you and push you. Oh, you're not quite ready for it. That's fine. We back off. We try it again. And he steps up. And so to get to the point last night has sort of been this progression by design, and it's great to see him doing what he needs to do. And the opportunity presented himself, and he was ready for it finally, Sam. And it was great. So you're hoping that this is another step for him to say, okay, not only do I belong in the big leagues, not only am I healthy, not only is my stuff electric at this point, but now put me in any situation you want, and I can get the job done for you. And it's been a great weapon for Mike Shildt, and hopefully another strong piece in this bullpen moving forward.
And a really good point, Scan, about his health, right? He's healthy. He's been healthy really all year. That's a great first step in doing what Adrian has done this season. Let's talk about this game. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres here today. And really, Scan, aside from one inning against the Orioles, you look at what Randy's done lately. He's been really good over the past month and a half. What are the keys for Randy Vasquez here today?
As it always is, his fastball command, and that was the thing that he was working on with Ruben early in the season in terms of mechanically. They moved him to a different part of the mound. They changed his delivery. They changed how he was staying behind the baseball. So there have been a bunch of little things that he and Ruben have been working on, and we're starting to see the results of it. And it's all about you locate that fastball. He's got 4 or 5 other off-speed pitches that he can go to. So he's not a one-trick pony. He's got multiple weapons. But it all starts with being able to locate that fastball so that the hitters have to respect that first, and then everything else plays off of that. So when we've seen him with the good fastball command, especially that four-seamer, which are the thing that he and Ruben primarily worked on to get better command and better life on, everything else plays off that really well. And he's another guy that, at the start you didn't know what was going to happen, but the more that he's gotten his opportunities every fifth day and been a part of this rotation, he's really stepped up, to your point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, his last 8 outings, other than that one little blip on the radar screen against Baltimore, have been really solid.
Yeah, it's really been one inning when you look at his last 6, 7 starts. So we'll see how Randy does today on the road against this Pittsburgh lineup. On the other side of this pitching matchup, right-hander Luis Ortiz for the Buccos. We'll have more on him coming up a little bit later. Scan, let's talk about Xander Bogaerts. Had the go-ahead RBI hit in the 10th inning yesterday. You look at the numbers since coming off the IL. He has been really, really good. What have you seen from Xander since he's come back from the injury?
His timing has been much better, and he was working on some things with his front foot. That's always sort of been a thing for him. I remember talking to him last year about his front foot in terms of he would lift it up high, and at times it was a really important and valuable timing device for him. But then there were also times where the little foot lift at the beginning of his swing was messing up his timing. So it was sort of a love-hate relationship with that high foot lift, and he got rid of it. And finally this year he just said, I can't deal with it anymore, and he's been keeping it much tighter. Now, to your point, when you come back from the IL having been gone for a month or more, traditionally it'll take guys anywhere from 40 to 50 plate appearances before they really start getting their timing down and you start seeing them get back into their rhythm. He eliminated 50 plate appearances on that because as soon as he came back, he was swinging the bat well. And I was asking him about it, and he didn't want to go into a whole lot of details about what changes he had made, but he did acknowledge that he used that time off really well in terms of looking at video, breaking things down, analyzing some things, and obviously applying them, and they are working. So credit to him for using that downtime to continue to work on things. Even though you're not getting the live plate appearances, that doesn't mean that you can't be working on your mechanics, and obviously it's carried over because he's been off to a great start.
Really good stuff, Scan. We'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at 9:25 here in San Diego. Of course, 12:25 local time in Pittsburgh. Thanks so much, and we'll see if the Padres can go for a sweep today, can get a sweep today against these Pirates. Thank you as always, Scan.
Sam, thank you, and thanks for the great job you're doing on the postgame after these long games. You're killing it.
Yes, thank you very much. Bob Scanlon joining us from PNC Park. Yes, on Tuesday night we had a 2-hour, 40-minute delay, and last night we had a near 4-hour game, which is unheard of in the pitch clock era. Let's set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971, with 3 locations, La Mesa, Vista, and Oceanside. Padres enter today 63-52. Padres have won 13 of their last 15 games. They're 11 games above 500 for the first time this season. Padres have the best record in the majors. Since July 20th, Padres begin today tied for the National League's third wild card spot, or I should say, they're actually, I think, a little bit better than that. I wrote that down wrong. I'll update you on the standings after our next break. But the Padres, we do know this, just 3 games behind the Dodgers for first place in the National League West. It's the first time the Padres have been within 3 games of first place in the NL West since April 25th. And by the way, Padres in Arizona, they are tied for the first wild card spot in the NL right now. So my mistake on that initially. Pirates, meanwhile, 56-57. Pirates have lost 9 of their last 15 games. So that is how things shape up as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 9:35 in Pittsburgh. When we come back, we hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, plus a little bit later, we hear from new Padres reliever Bryan Hoeing, and much, much more to come as we get ready for this one in Pittsburgh on the Padres Radio Network. 9:35 in Pittsburgh. Padres going for a 3-game sweep of the Pirates. Well, yesterday, a wild win for the Padres in Pittsburgh. Back and forth it went. Adrian Morejon getting out of the bottom half of the 10th inning, keeping the Padres ahead, picking up his first major league save. Jackson Merrill, what a night. 4 hits, including a game-tying home run in the 9th inning. It was a wacky one. It was a wild one, but it was a win. Let's hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. He provides his thoughts after last night's wild one in Pittsburgh.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
So I had to unpack. I think we'll start at the end with Morejon, more than earning his first career major league save. What a tremendous job and clearly a tough spot. Just can't say enough about the job he did coming in that situation and being able to keep it right there and bring it home for us.
I'm sure you would love a nice 6-0 win, but what satisfaction is there in a game where it really wasn't particularly well played at times, but you kept fighting and you come back to win?
Yeah, listen, we did a lot of things really, really well today. There's no question about that. Situational hitting was tremendous. Guts across the field. Yeah, we didn't play as clean as we typically play. You got to prove you're human some days. But definitely overcame it. That's what winners do. They find solutions. And, I just can't say enough about the group. Michael gutted up through 5, was grinding a little bit, but found a way. And then the rest of the guys on the mound did their part as well. Jacob, that's a big inning, man, right there. We're down 1, holds it there. We talked about that. How important that is for guys in the bullpen to give yourself a chance to come back. Our bats in the 8th, rated bats against Chapman in the 8th, set us up, I felt like, for the 9th about where we were, relative to in the lineup for Bednar. So it was just a great team win. Obviously, Jackson was huge.
That was going to be my next question. What is it about the big moments, or at least like kind of when you guys are down and kind of seem challenged, that Jackson seems to thrive in those spots?
Yeah, man, he embraces it, he loves it, thrives on it. He sees it as an opportunity and goes and plays the game. He's got that it factor. So another big swing by him, and just a lot of big swings, a lot of big at bats. Bogey, Manny, Solano, Higgy with the big throw and homer to give us the lead back. So it was just team effort.
What did you make of Xander? He booted a ball and then came back and made a throw at home and comes up with the go-ahead.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's what, winners do, man. They figure it out. It's not a game that's always going to go your way, but it's how you play the game as consistently as possible, and then when something happens, come back and look to make a play. It was a huge play. Big swing, too. A big swing in the 10th to start to break it open a little bit.
I assume that one of the sequences you liked in the game was Manny stealing second,
yes,
getting the big jump, and I guess he also had an error that was uncharacteristic. What'd you think of what he did to bounce back?
It was fantastic. He gets the bag, huge 2 outs. All those plays end up being huge plays. Grabs the bag, and then we get the base hit, and then he was feeling fast and was able to come around and score. But he does that, clearly is a big part of the game for us.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after yesterday's 9-8 win in Pittsburgh. And yeah, yesterday was not the cleanest game the Padres played all year. They had the misplay in the first inning that helped lead to a Pittsburgh run scoring. They had the Manny error in the second. They had the passed balls in the 6th inning. They had the Bogaerts error in the 9th inning. But even through all that, the Padres just continue to find ways to win. Again, the Padres have just found a way here as of late. So often, Padres have won 13 of their last 15. First pitch coming up at 9:35 in Pittsburgh. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
We put Xander Bogaerts in the hot category. Hits in 14 of his last 15 games, batting .436 in that span with 8 RBIs and 11 runs scored. Since coming off the IL, Xander is hitting .419 in 74 at-bats. He's raised his batting average from .219 to .276 in that span. That's 57 points. He has been terrific. Luis Campusano, 2 for 4 on Tuesday night, batting .375 in his past 24 at-bats. Jackson Merrill also in the hot category, 6 for 13 with a couple of home runs, 2 doubles, and 4 RBIs. Andrew McCutchen passed 800 career RBIs as a Pirate last night. He's 6 for his last 15, 3 hits and a home run in this series. Joey Bart, 9 for his last 22 with a couple of home runs. Meanwhile, look at the not category. Ha-Sung Kim had a base hit last night in his only at-bat. That snapped an 0 for 16. And for the Pirates, Brian De La Cruz, after being traded from the Marlins, has not been great. 3 for 22 in his first 5 games with Pittsburgh. And that's a look at who's hot and who's not. When we come back on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show, we'll update you on the injuries. We'll take a look at the lineup today for the Padres. A couple of guys that have been a little bit banged up as of late. Good news, they are back in there today. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, our keys to the game. Plus, I go one-on-one with new Padres reliever Bryan Hoeing. First pitch coming up at 9:35 at PNC Park in Pittsburgh as the Padres go for a 3-game sweep on the Padres radio network. .25 a.m., first pitch at 9:35 in Pittsburgh. We do have some roster moves that just came down from the Padres. This coming in just about 2-3 minutes ago, so you're probably hearing this for the first time. Interesting here. Padres have selected the contract of veteran reliever Carl Edwards Jr. The corresponding moves, they optioned Alec Jacob to AAA El Paso. They've also designated left-hander Jackson Wolf for assignment. I would assume that's to make room on the 40-man, but the room on the 26-man is Jacob. It's kind of interesting. I wonder if this is just a move to get an extra arm in the bullpen for the next couple of days, at least for today. Alec Jacob has been really, really good. So interesting there. Carl Edwards Jr., veteran right-hander, but at least for today, he's up on the 26-man roster. Alec Jacob optioned back to AAA. Let's update you on the injuries for the Padres entering this one.
Who's in, who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, we have two guys back in the lineup today for the Padres after we had some injury scares and news with these guys earlier in the week. Ha-Sung Kim was out of the lineup for a couple of days after dealing with right tricep soreness and entered the game last night for Jurickson Profar. He is back in the lineup. Kim is here today, so that's good news. Speaking of Profar, he was hit in the left knee by a 95-mile-per-hour fastball last night. Came out of the game. Imaging was negative. Profar back in the lineup here today, so that's good news on that front. As far as the Pirates, O'Neal Cruz, you might remember, unavailable on Tuesday due to an illness. He was not in the lineup yesterday, but he did enter the game last night. Cruz is back in the lineup for the Pirates today, playing shortstop and batting third. So those are a look at the injury updates on Kim, Profar, and the Pirates' O'Neal Cruz. By the way, with Carl Edwards Jr., he made a handful of appearances at AAA El Paso, the longest of which was actually 5 innings. So he's given El Paso some length. It's going to be interesting to see what the plan is for Carl Edwards Jr., how they elect to use him, and really the move with Jacob, just because Jacob's been really impressive so far. Let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
An early game in the Eastern time zone here today for the Padres, so everything else is coming up a little bit later on. Giants at the Nationals at 9:05, Brewers at the Braves at 9:20 in Atlanta. We have the Mets and the Rockies in Colorado at 12:10. Reds and the Marlins in Miami at 3:10. Angels and the Yankees in New York at 4:05. Orioles and the Blue Jays at 4:07. In Toronto, Rays and the Cardinals in St. Louis at 4:15. Tigers and the Mariners in Seattle later tonight at 6:40. And finally, Phillies and the Diamondbacks, Red Hot D-backs in Arizona at 6:40 as well. And that's a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Thursday across the major leagues. Well, one guy that has been very effective so far in a Padres uniform, and we certainly saw it on Tuesday night in Pittsburgh, is right-hander Bryan Hoeing, who went 3 2/3 scoreless innings in that game against the Pirates on Tuesday after the rain delay. Really, you look at that win for the Padres on Tuesday. What Hoeing did was really important. 45 pitches, no runs, 1 hit given up. Padres acquired Hoeing in the trade alongside Tanner Scott from Miami at the trade deadline. Very good numbers for Hoeing with Miami this season. I enjoyed getting to know Bryan Hoeing last week at Petco Park. In case you missed that conversation a handful of days ago, here was my chat with new Padres reliever Bryan Hoeing.
It's been exciting. Everybody here with the Padres organization has been first class, just welcoming me with open arms. The communication has been awesome. I was not expecting to get traded, but I am happy where I'm at right now. I'm thankful for my time with Miami, but really looking forward here into spending the last couple months here with the Padres and pushing for the postseason.
What was the process like finding out that you were getting traded and getting here and getting settled? Just the last few days, what has it been like?
Yeah, we were in Tampa on Tuesday, and we were about to go into some meetings, and Skip Schumacher, our manager there, pulled me into his office and said, "Hey, you're getting traded to the Padres with Tanner." And And I said, oh, wow. And I flew out the next morning, which was on Wednesday, I believe. And then I actually pitched that night, which is kind of a crazy 24 hours. But once I was all settled, kind of like settled down a little bit and just kind of take it all in, I'm really grateful for just this opportunity here with the Padres.
You come to San Diego alongside the left-hander Tanner Scott. You look at Scott's numbers this season, the last couple of years really, and he's been one of the best left-handed relievers in the game. From your perspective, what makes Tanner Scott so dominant?
I think his preparation, his consistency, what he does off the field is, it only makes sense as to why he's doing so well on the field. He's really diligent with his work, the training room, the weight room. It's been a pleasure, honestly, the last 2 years watching him pitch. It's been phenomenal. Like you said, one of the best relievers, if not the best left-handed reliever in the game. He's just so consistent out there, throws strikes, gets outs. You put him in any situation, 2 inning, 1 inning, 1 batter, it doesn't matter. He goes out there and gets the job done. But I think it's all the work he does off the field that makes him so good on the field.
We're joined right now by new Padres reliever Bryan Hoeing on the Padres Radio Network. I want to take this opportunity to introduce you a little bit to Padres fans. You grew up in Batesville, Indiana, not too far outside Cincinnati. Tell me, what was life like in Batesville?
Very small town, a town of 5,000 people, population of 5,000. A lot of farmland. A lot of people who grew up in Batesville stay in Batesville, so not a lot of people leave we call it the Batesville bubble. But yeah, I grew up a Reds fan. I was, 45 minutes away from Great American Ballpark, so I grew up watching, Ken Griffey, Adam Dunn, Johnny Cueto, guys like that. But yeah, it's just a small town. Everybody knows everybody. You go into Kroger, the local grocery store, and you walk down the aisles and you know every single person there. So it's a very tight-knit city, and I'm grateful to be from Batesville. And I visit from time to time, but yeah, it's much different from these big cities like San Diego and Miami for sure.
All of a sudden, the Padres radio and TV ratings going up in Batesville, Indiana. You went to the University of Louisville. How did you get to Louisville, and what was your career like there?
Yeah, I started getting recruited by Louisville in high school, and the coaching staff there, Coach McDonald and Coach Williams, they did a really good job of recruiting me and made me feel like they wanted me, to pitch for the Cardinals. And it was phenomenal. I was there from 2016 to 2019. I missed my freshman year due to Tommy John surgery, so I actually only played for 3 seasons. But I met some lifelong friends there with my teammates. I still go back from time to time with a golf outing every single year. There's an alumni golf outing. But I was 2 hours away from my hometown, so I was close enough to home to where my family could come watch me, but also far enough away to kind of get that separation also from home. So it worked out perfect for me. But no, we went to the World Series twice in 2017 and 2019. We had a lot of talent come through when I was there, a lot of first rounders, second rounders. But no, my time at Louisville was great. Something I'll never forget.
You mentioned going to the College World Series. How does that, at that kind of age, prepare you to pitch in the major leagues, pitch in the kinds of environments we have here at Petco Park?
Right. At the time, that felt like the big leagues. Like, that's the closest thing that we got to the big leagues as we possibly could in college. There at TD Ameritrade Park, it was sold out. Even like when we got back to the hotel, there was a bunch of fans, waiting outside our hotel lobby and whatnot. So it made you feel like a superstar there for about a week or so. But yeah, just pitching in that environment prepared me for, my future where, it's easy to kind of get affected by the crowd, and sometimes, especially for the opposing team, they kind of swarm up on you and the game speeds up. But going through that, at 20, 21 years old, has definitely made my path a little bit easier when I got up here and pitching in front of big crowds.
Bryan, welcome to San Diego. Thanks so much for the time. Great getting to know you a little bit, and good luck with everything here with the Padres. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
That was new Padres reliever Bryan Hoeing last week at Petco Park. Again, a big thank you to Bryan for joining me. Really impactful performance on Tuesday night in the Padres' 6-0 win in Pittsburgh. 3 2/3 scoreless innings out of the bullpen, 45 pitches for Hoeing. He was really, really big after Dylan Cease only could throw 1 inning because of the rain delay. So we'll see if Hoeing is in there today at some point against the Pirates. We'll have more on that coming up a little bit later. It's going to be an interesting day for the Padres bullpen. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can tweet at me at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Instagram DM's open as well, Sammy Lev there too. And I have a tweet here from Keith on Twitter. And as always, when we have Padres and pancakes, fryers and flapjacks, whatever you want to call it, I always invite you to send me photos of how you're enjoying Padres baseball this morning. Keith tweeting a picture at me, Padres and Pop-Tarts feels like a match made in heaven, and I see Keith has the Pop-Tarts. He's got the coffee going, so Keith, glad you're listening. And as always, if you want to chime in, show me a photo how you're enjoying Padres and pancakes on this Thursday morning. Let me know. Tweet at me, Instagram, DM me. Would love to hear from you. First pitch coming up at 9:35 in Pittsburgh. Let's give you our keys to today's game.
How will the Padres unlock a victory in today's game? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Honor Buick GMC Hummer in National City.
Key number 1, keep the Pirates relievers reeling. The Pirates have lost 5 of 6 games, and a big reason why has been their bullpen. Pirates relievers have allowed 21 runs in the last 5 games. That's a span of nearly 28 innings of work. The Padres scored 4 runs against their bullpen last night, including runs against some big arms in the back end of that Pirates pen. Pirates closer David Bednar gave up the game-tying home run. He's allowed now a run in 3 straight appearances. Colin Holderman has given up 8 earned runs in his last 5 outings, 4 home runs given up in that span. So a key to today's game for the Padres, keep taking advantage of what has been a shaky Pirates bullpen as of late. That's key number 1. Key number 2, keep the line moving. Padres have 28 hits combined in this series, 14 on Tuesday and 14 last night. If you're the Padres offense, just keep doing what you've been doing the last 2 days and really what you've been doing for the most part this year. Keep the line moving, pass the baton, whatever way you want to describe it. 14 hits, both games of this series. Keep doing that. That's key number 2. Key number 3, do a better job against the top of the Pirates lineup. And here's why I bring it up. You look at last night's win. The top 4 spots in the Pirates batting order had 7 hits and 6 RBIs. That was Andrew McCutchen, Brian Reynolds, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and the mix of Rowdy Tellez and Connor Joe, who later pinch hit. 7 hits and 6 RBIs. That's a lot for the top 4 spots in the lineup. So the Padres, you want them to do a better job against the very top of the Pirates lineup. Typically, when a top of a lineup performs like that, pretty good chance that that team is going to win. Got to do a better job against the top of the Pirates lineup here today. We'll see if Randy Vasquez and the Padres bullpen can do exactly that. And that's a look at our keys to the game. When we come back, we take a much deeper dive into our pitching matchup between Randy Vasquez and right-hander Luis Ortiz on the mound for Pittsburgh. Plus, we take a deep dive into the Padres bullpen. That is something you're going to want to keep an eye on here today, really for a couple of reasons. So we'll talk more about that when we come back. Again, first pitch coming up at 9:35 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Padres continuing this 6-game road trip, trying to sweep a 3-game set from the Buccos. Our pregame coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 9:35 in Pittsburgh. We go out to Jesse and Bob Scanlon in just about 8 minutes. They'll have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. Again, the Padres making a move before today's game, selecting the contract of right-hander Carl Edwards Jr., veteran right-hander, now on the Padres' 26-man active roster today. Padres optioning right-hander Alec Jacob to AAA El Paso, also designating left-handed pitcher Jackson Wolf, who made his major league debut with the Padres last year. They designated him for assignment. So again, kind of interesting. Edwards is now active. Jacob, who's been really good, back down to AAA El Paso, at least for now. This may be a short-term move just to get an extra arm in the bullpen. And I bring it up because, remember, the Padres are playing 9 games in 9 days. They have a stretch right now of 27 games in 28 days. So it just might be a move about getting an extra arm for today's game, tomorrow's game, whatever it may end up being. So we'll see how it all shakes out. Let's talk a little bit more about the Padres bullpen as we tell you what to watch for.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for? The Padres bullpen today. Really 2 aspects to it. Number 1, can they keep doing what they've been doing? The bullpen has been great in this series. 13 combined innings so far in the first 2 games of this series, really because of the rain delay on Tuesday. They've given up 1 earned run in 13 combined innings so far in this series. Padres relievers have a sub-2 ERA in the past 14 games. So that's aspect number 1. Aspect number 2, how does Mike Shildt manage this pen today? Now, we just found out he's going to have a new arm in Carl Edwards Jr., presumably available today. But Jeremiah Estrada has pitched the first 2 games of this series. Same thing with Morahone. Same thing with Tanner Scott. In fact, Jason Adam threw 26 pitches on Tuesday. Alec Jacob, not on the roster anymore. He threw yesterday. Yuki Matsui threw 21 pitches yesterday. Robert Suarez appeared yesterday. The bullpen has been used pretty heavily so far in this series. And again, Estrada, Morahone, and Scott, they've all pitched in 2 straight games. So how does Mike Shildt operate the bullpen today? Let's say Randy Vasquez, just hypothetically, doesn't go very deep in this game. How do they get through it with this pen today? That's what to watch for in today's game for a bullpen that has been very effective as of late for the Padres. Let's dive into our pitching matchup. Couple of young right-handers going at it. Randy Vasquez against Luis Ortiz.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview. Presented by Chimney Sweeps, Inc., San Diego's trusted chimney and fireplace service company for 40 years. Call Chimney Sweeps, Inc. at 1-800-CHIMNEY or book an inspection online at chimneysweepsinc.com.
Right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. So far this season, 3-6, a 4.62 ERA, 16 starts, 76 innings, 95 hits given up. He struck out 50 and walked 21. Last start against the Rockies, he went 5 innings, 1 earned run given up on 3 hits. His start before that gave up 6 runs in 2+ innings against the Orioles. But remember, he posted a 1.71 ERA in his 5 starts before that one. Vasquez faced the Pirates in relief with the Yankees last September, a scoreless inning plus. That outing was in Pittsburgh. Got to keep an eye on Vasquez against left-handed hitters. Lefty hitters batting .378 against them, a .999 OPS. Right-handed batters batting .260 against them with a .750 OPS. The arsenal for Randy: 4-seam fastball, a curveball, a sinker, a cutter, a changeup, and a sweeper. Hitters are batting well over .300 against that 4-seamer and the sinker. Have to see how Vasquez does with those 2 pitches here today. Right-hander Luis Ortiz on the mound for the Pirates. 5-2, 28 appearances this year, 6 starts, 84 innings, 65 strikeouts, 27 walks. Began the year as a long man in the Pirate bullpen. Now he's a starter. He's made 5 starts in a row now. The first 3 were really good. 1 earned run allowed in 18+ combined innings. Last 2 starts have not been as good. Both were against Arizona, one on July 26th. He went 5 innings, 3 earned runs given up. One on August 2nd, not good. 5 innings and a third, 6 earned runs allowed, 6 hits, including 3 home runs. Lefties are batting just .208 against him, but they have hit 6 of the 7 home runs he's allowed this season. Ortiz actually faced the Padres last year, gave up 4 runs in 4 2/3 innings. Ha-Sung Kim hit a home run against him. And the arsenal for Ortiz, 4-seam fastball, cutter, slider, and the occasional changeup. And that's a look at our pitching matchup. Randy Vasquez against Luis Ortiz. You've been listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Padres come in 63-52. The Red Hot Friars, they've won 13 of their last 15. Can they get another 3-game sweep in Pittsburgh here today? We're going to find out. When we come back, Jesse Agler, Bob Scanlon have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our postgame show. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network.